Hi there, I'm Jessica. Welcome to my channel. In today's video, we are making the brand new Ellie Modern Bucket Bag that is by K.Dill Handmade. I'm so excited to sew this up. It's my first time sewing it up. I'm currently testing this pattern, so I figured I will go ahead and test the pattern and sew along on a video. So we'll make it together for the first time. Now keep in mind that this is in testing, so there could be changes throughout the pattern. So when you purchase a pattern and I've mentioned something in the testing period, just keep in mind that things could change in the pattern once it is complete and been released, okay? I just wanted to throw that out there. All right, so let's go ahead and start making the Ellie Modern Bucket Bag. I will have the link to the brand new pattern listed in the description, and also I'll link everything I'm using here as well. I'm gonna go ahead and start talking about our pattern pieces. We have the outer main panel. Now I am doing an exterior that has 3 pieces per side. It's like a block panel. So for me, I'm going to need 2 center pieces, okay? I'm using waterproof canvas, so I am not interfacing these pieces. And then you're gonna need 4 exterior sides. So you'll need 2 for each side, 1 for the left and 1 for the right. And I'm using a lightweight vinyl. This is from mormino.com. It's called Pale Purple, I believe. I will find it and put the link down below. So we've got exterior panel A. Next is pattern piece B. This is our outer base. You could do an accent piece and make it a different color if you'd like. It's totally up to you. I just wanted to keep it with that pale purple. I just think it's so pretty, and I love purple. I'm a huge fan. And you do need Decouville Heavy. I did not have Decouville Heavy, so I took 2 pieces of Decouville Light and placed them right on top of each other. So you could do that in case you don't have any Decouville Heavy. You could also use Peltex if you'd like. So there's pattern piece B, the outer base. Next we have pattern piece C. This is our lining panel. You'll need 2 cuts of this. I'm using water resistant canvas, so I do not need to interface this. Next piece is our lining top band. This is pattern piece D. You could use this as an accent piece if you'd like to, or you could just use the exterior, or however you'd like to use that. You'll need 2 cuts of that. Next is pattern piece E, the internal snap cover. You need a piece that is a non-fraying fabric. However, I believe that Kathy is working on this piece to be like a cotton woven or something that does fray. I believe she is working on that right now. So just look at the pattern if you do want to do something that is not a non-fraying material, something that's, you know, cotton weight. So look out for that. Next I have pattern piece F, which is the center divider zipper pockets. You'll need 2 pieces for the lining piece and then 2 pieces for the exterior piece. This purple, I think I already mentioned, this purple is a waterproof canvas, so I'm not going to interface any of that. You're going to need pattern piece F1, which is the center divider zipper tabs. You'll need 4 pieces from your lining. You're going to need pattern piece G, which is the interior zipper pocket. You'll need 1 piece for that. Your next piece is pattern piece G1, which is pocket facing, and you'll need 1 cut of that. You will need 2 zippers. You'll need to refer to the pattern for the length of both of these. One is for that zipper inside, and also the other is for that center divider pocket. I'm using number 5 zipper tape, and I'm going to be using 2 number 5 zipper pulls. I'm going to be using a label. This is from the Heartwood and Hide. I'm going to be using a chain strap. I think this would be really fun to place on this bag. You could do webbing or you could make your own straps. There are instructions in the pattern for that. You will need 2 O-rings. These are 1.5 inches. I forget what these are called, but they're the ones that, you know, it opens right here. You'll need 2 of those. You'll also need some magnetic snaps. This is going to be for that top that we were just talking about, the one piece that that you would need, a non-fraying material that she's working on right now for having cotton. If you wanted to use that, you'll need 2 magnetic snaps for that. You'll need some double cap rivets if you plan on doing that for your strap. And you're going to need some double-sided tape, a hump jumper possibly, and you're going to need grommets. I have my grommets. I just need to go get the grommets, but you will need 2 grommets about 5/8 of an inch for the bag. And I think that is everything that we need. So let's go ahead and begin our Ellie modern bucket bag. Okay, so the first thing we're going to work on is the center divider pocket. So you're going to need that smallest zipper. Make sure you install your zipper pull before you get started. You're going to go ahead and grab those center divider zipper tabs. There should be 4 of those. And what we're going to do is we are going to place our material right sides up, and you're going to take your zipper and match up that raw end. Okay, and then I'm going to take another one and place this right sides down. So your zipper is sandwiched between your zipper tabs. I'm going to go ahead and grab a couple of clips and clip the end so it's right side down on top of the zipper, and then the right side against the back of the zipper. We're going to do that on the other side. So right side against the bottom of the zipper. Line that up with that raw edge, and then we're going to place the other one right side down on top of the top zipper and clip that together. Now we're going to go to the machine and we're going to stitch this at the seam allowance given in the pattern. Once you do that on both sides, you will take your zipper tabs and you're going to flip them up, okay, and then fold them, finger press, and then you're going to top stitch at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. All right, so we have our zipper with the zipper tabs completed. Now what we're going to do is set that to the side and grab pattern piece F, which is the center divider zipper pocket. On all 4 of our panels, we are going to trim the bottom corners. So you're going to grab a ruler and you're going to measure in and mark up on the measurement given in the pattern. And once you do that, you're going to make a line from this corner, or I'm sorry, from the measurement you made on the side of your lining to the bottom. Draw that line, and then you're going to trim off those corners, okay? So go ahead and do that on all 4 of the bottom center divider zipper pockets. Okay, so I made all of my marks down at the bottom of all 4 of the center divider zipper pockets. I'm not sure you can see those marks. It's in silver, but I've got my diagonal line over here, and I'm just gonna go ahead and trim off all of these corners right along the marks that we just made, okay? So it should look like this after you've cut this off. Okay, it'll look like this, okay? So you'll do that on all 4 of them. So trim off all those corners. All right, so all of your center divider zipper pockets will have those little bottoms cut off at the angle, okay? Now what we're gonna do is you're gonna grab one of your exterior center dividers. You're gonna grab your zipper. We're gonna lay one exterior center divider zipper pocket right side up, okay? Grab some clips. We're going to take our zipper and lay it right sides down, and you want to center this. So now is the time to go ahead and center all your pieces if you haven't done that. I'm just going to start with centering this one for now. And I'm going to pull my zipper all the way to the end here. I'm going to mark my center with a marking tool because I do not want to snip into my zipper. That could eventually cause it to fray with time. I don't want that to happen. So I'm just using a marking tool within the seam allowance. We are going to lay this right sides down. I want to make sure that my zipper is closing to the left when it's right side down. So you're going to take your centers, match up those centers, and go ahead and start clipping that top. Be mindful that your zipper tabs will be hanging off the edge. Don't worry about that. We end up trimming that off later on. You'll go ahead and sew this down at the seam allowance given in the pattern. While sewing this zipper on with that zipper pull, make sure you move the zipper as you come to it. You don't want to sew over the zipper pull on accident. That would be bad. You could break your needle, or you want to move this out of the way, because if you don't, there's going to be a little weird hump. Okay, so make sure you move that out of the way as you're sewing. All right, the zipper is sewn on here to the exterior. We're going to go ahead and grab one of the interior center divider zipper pockets. We're going to lay this right sides down on top of your zipper. Your zipper should also be right sides down. I am just going to match up the edges of my the exterior center divider pocket. You could go ahead and make your center marks if you prefer, but I'm just going to clip the top and match up my edges, or excuse me, I'm going to match up my sides. And go ahead and clip the top. Okay, so I've got this clip together at the top, and just make note that it is going to be okay that the exterior is longer than your interiors. Don't worry about that. We're going to go ahead and sew this together at the seam allowance given in the pattern. Okay, we've got this sewn together now. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to fold this away, my lining. I'm going to fold the lining away from that zipper, and I'm just finger pressing since I'm using a water resistant canvas and then a waterproof canvas. I'm going to fold the exterior away from the zipper. If you're using cotton, you can use your iron if you'd like. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to top stitch at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance right here underneath that zipper. Remember about your zipper pull, you want that out of the way. Right, so here we are. We've got the exterior for the center divider, and then we have our interior. And now what we're going to do is we're going to do the exact same thing that we did on here. Okay, so we have the exterior right side up. I'm going to take this and place this right side down. You're going to match up those center marks. So now what we're looking at is the right side of our lining, but the back side of our zipper. Your zipper should be now closing towards the right, okay? So match up those center marks and go ahead and clip that into place. And we are going to sew that on with the seam allowance given in the pattern. Okay, so now we've got the exterior sewn on. Okay, this is what it should look like right now. Now we're going to take our last lining piece for that divider pocket, and we're going to lay this right sides down. So right now I've got my lining piece right side up and that zipper is wrong side up. And I'm placing my lining right side down, and I'm going to match up those center marks and make sure that my edges on the sides are matching up, and they are. So I'm going to go ahead and clip that top edge, and then we're going to sew this at the seam allowance given in the pattern. So now we're going to go ahead and push our lining away from that zipper. I'm going to close my zipper. Fold it away and finger press, or you can take this to the iron if you'd like to. And go ahead and take your exterior and finger press that away from your zipper. And now we're going to top stitch at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and trim off our zipper tabs that are just hanging off here. So go ahead and try to get it as straight as you can to line up with your exterior and the lining piece. There we go. Do the same thing on that other side. There we go. And this is what we should have right now. This is what we've got. That looks really good. How cute is that? Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to bring our lining panels, our 2 interior pocket panels, and we're going to match them right sides together. So go ahead and clip around these edges. We're going to do the bottom edge first, and then we're going to go ahead and sew across the bottom at the seam allowance given in the pattern. Okay, so now you're going to grab your exterior panels, and we are going to match up the angled bottom corners, clip those together, and then we are going to sew our angled corners at the seam allowance given in the pattern, okay? Okay, so now we are going to turn this through. It's going to look kind of weird. We've got 2 little openings, okay? That's what it should look like right now. So I'm going to open up my zipper just in case, and I'm going to just pull all this through so that everything, there we go, fits nicely. So you want to have your lining inside. Everything should fit nicely in here. That looks pretty good. I'm going to go down to my corners here and just fold along the edge that we have sewn. All right. Now what we're going to do is, if you need to trim on the seam allowance on the lining panels, go ahead and do that. We're going to go ahead and press the panel nice and flat. We're going to clip together the sides, and we are going to baste around all of our sides. So the left side, the right side, and then the bottom, okay? So clip everything down and give it a baste. Before I start basting everything down, I just wanted to show you what it looks like right now. I have my seams up here kind of matched. I know that this could be kind of thick for some people, but try to get as, try to go up to the top if you can on each side. So we'll just go ahead and baste this down. Everything should match pretty perfectly here, okay? So let's go ahead and baste that down. Okay, so this is done for now. We're gonna go ahead and set this to the side, okay? Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab our interior lining panels. And in the instructions, it tells you about the box corners down here. You'll wanna go ahead and check out what the measurements are in the pattern. So go ahead and grab, I think we're gonna do 1 right now. So we've got 1 lining panel, and you wanna have this right sides up. You're also gonna go ahead and grab that pattern piece G1, which is that pocket facing. Okay, so I have my measurement from the pattern that you'll need from the top of your lining panel. and you'll want it centered. And then on your pocket facing, there is a measurement for that box for you to place on the back side of your pocket facing. So I'm going to lay this right side down. So when I lay this down, I'm going to center it and lay it down on the mark that I placed according to the pattern. I think, no, I'm not able to put those kind of clips, but I think I can use these hair clips for this. You want to make sure that your box is on the back side of your pocket facing. And then what we're going to do is take this to the machine, and you're going to sew all along that box that you've created on your pocket facing. I'm going to go ahead and do that. My box is disappearing pretty quickly. All right, so I've got my pocket facing lining sewn on. And now what we're going to do is you want to draw a center line right in the center of the box you just sewn, okay? And you want to have a triangle at each end that's about a ½ inch away from the stitches that you've created. Okay, and then we're going to cut that open. So I'm going to grab my ruler here and just mark that center ½ inch away. And then I'm just going to draw a little triangle. Just like that, okay? So now what you're gonna do is grab some scissors and fold this in half, just like so. And I am going to cut along that center line that we just made. We are going to cut through both materials, so both lining pieces, and you're gonna cut all the way until you get to the tip of that triangle. And then you're gonna start cutting that triangle, and you wanna get as close as you can to your stitches without cutting those stitches. In order to have a zipper like this that is not puckering, the closer you can get to your stitches without cutting them, the better it will be. And I'll be honest, these are not my favorite kind of pockets because I am not good at getting those puckers out. I think it's because I have before trimmed too close and cut my stitches, and it's just scary. I think I really do like the zipper overlay option now. That's kind of become a favorite. I thought about doing that as well, but since this is a tester pattern, I want to go according to her instructions for now, but there will be another video for this coming, so you watch out for that one. This one's going to be a fun one. It's going to be for a marathon coming up soon, so keep your eye out for that. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to carefully place that pocket facing and bring it to the exterior, not the exterior, to the back side of this lining piece. This is going to be where you find out if you cut close enough, and I already can tell you I don't think I did. I love to use waterproof canvas so much. It's so easy to use. You don't have to use an iron. You don't have to interface it. I just love it. And it looks like I didn't do that bad, although it is still puckering. I don't know, you guys. I guess it's not terrible. There is the puckering though. But that's fine. I'm okay with that. It is fine. Okay. It's not too bad. You could turn it back around and trim a little closer into the corner, but I mean, I'm really close to the stitches. If you have any tips on that, I would love for you to leave them down below. Let me know how you do it. Next time, like I said, I'll be doing a zipper overlay. I just really like that. I'm gonna go ahead and grab I'm gonna set this to the side for now. And then I'm gonna go ahead and grab the interior zipper pocket. Okay, there's only one piece for this. And you're gonna go ahead and grab your other zipper, okay, and grab that other zipper pull. You want to go ahead and install that zipper pull as well, which, where did mine go? Okay, so now go ahead and grab that other zipper and make sure you install your zipper pull, okay? And then you're gonna go ahead and grab your interior zipper pocket. There's just that one piece. You're gonna go ahead and take that zipper and lay it so it's right side up, and your zipper pocket interior panel should be right side up as well. So you're gonna take this and line this up on the shortest edge. My zipper is gonna be closing when pulled to the left, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and clip this top edge, and then we are going to sew this at the seam allowance given in the pattern, and make sure you move that zipper pull out of the way. All right, so this is sewn on. So now we're gonna go ahead and take, this is gonna be, your lining is right side up. We're gonna take our other side of the zipper, right side up, and place it along the other short edge. And you're gonna clip the top. And we are gonna go and sew this at the seam allowance given in the pattern. Okay, so this is what you should have right now. All right, so you're gonna grab that lining that you just did with the zipper. You may want to grab double-sided tape if you'd like. I am gonna go ahead and grab some double-sided tape, and I'm going to line it up on the top and the bottom edge of my zipper. All right, here we are with the zipper tape on the top and the bottom. Now I'm going to take this so that the zipper pull is closing to the left, okay? And if you prefer it to the other side, you can do that. I'm gonna take my lining, I'm gonna have this right side up, and I'm going to place this right on top, okay? Make this as easy as possible for you. You want it centered as best as you can. So now I'm gonna go ahead and remove the top paper of my double-sided tape. I'm going to lay this right on top. This may take a little finagling in here to get it exactly how you want it, to get it straight. That's okay, just take your time with it. I'm gonna go ahead and remove the paper on the bottom. I guess it would be the top for me, and the other side was the bottom. Start off on whatever side is easiest for you. So now I'm going to take my zipper, and I want it to be, not my zipper, my lining. I'm going to take my lining and make sure that it is facing the bottom of my lining, okay? And now what we're going to do is we're going to sew on the left, up on the top, and down on the right, okay? Don't sew the bottom yet. Okay, so I did all three sides, the right and left and the top. Pretty sure I did this the opposite as well. It's fine, because I think we were we were supposed to do the bottom first, but I'm going backwards. So now what I'm doing is flipping my lining to where it is up on the top of your lining, and now we're going to sew that bottom at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance, okay? Okay, so now this whole box is sewn. Okay, so when you open this, you have a pocket, but you have it open on both sides. So now what we're gonna do is I'm just going to fold this so that we have a crease. You're gonna take your scissors and you are going to cut this in half, right along that line that I just folded. So now you have two separate lining pieces. What we're gonna do now is clip your sides, and we are gonna close the sides only. We will be leaving the bottom open because we're gonna be turning the bag through this lining later on. So what I'm gonna do is lay it so that my lining is right side up, and I'm going to go to the machine and lift this up out of the way and sew down the right and then only sew on the left. Leave that bottom open, okay? Okay, so now we've got our zipper all completed here. What you're gonna grab now is that lining top band. You'll need one of those for now. We are gonna go ahead and lay this so that it is right size down on the top of our lining panel. So clip those edges together. And then we're gonna sew this at the seam allowance given in the pattern. All right, so the top band is now sewn onto the lining. So go ahead and push that top band away from the lining. You want to have that seam allowance behind, I'm sorry, you're going to have the seam allowance go toward the lining, okay? I folded it down the wrong direction, which is fine. So behind your lining. And then we're going to go ahead and top stitch that edge at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance, and then we're going to move on to our other lining panel. Okay, with the lining panel that we've just done, we've sewn on our top band. There are some measurements in here to place your male snaps on here. I've already made my marks. You probably cannot see them. They're on I used an air erasing marker. So you'll want to go ahead and get the measurements to place your magnetic snaps in place for the male snaps. So I've already made my measurements. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and grab some stabilizer and place them behind my marks. I'm going to place holes into my stabilizer and go ahead and insert my male snaps, okay? And the male snaps should be on the front of your panel. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. All right, so I've placed my holes in here with my hole punch. I have 2 pieces of Peltex that I've punched my holes in. I have my rivet caps for the magnetic snaps. I'm not using the one with the prongs. And then I have my male ends. I have 2 of those. I'm going to place my male end in through the hole so that the male snap is on the front side. I'm going to take my Peltex and place it on the back right over that snap. And then I'm going to take the cap and place it on like so. Okay, so this is the back and this is the front. So I'll do the same thing. So it should look like this. I'm going to go to my rivet press and go ahead and snap those in place. All right, so my male magnetic snaps are in place here. I'm going to go ahead and grab my internal snap cover. I just realized I have an error. You actually need 2 internal snap covers, and I'll make sure to notate that in the video at the beginning when I'm going over all our pieces. We're going to lay this right side down. There are some measurements that you're going to do, so you're going to need a ruler. So you're going to make your measurements down at the bottom, the thinner side. Okay. Now you want to hold these marks to your female snaps before you punch any holes, because you want to make sure they line up. And if they're slightly off, you want to go ahead and just adjust it so that they fit like they're supposed to. So I'm going to go ahead and do that off camera. I'm going to go ahead and make my measurements and go ahead and install my female magnetic snaps. Okay, so I've got my female snaps here. I don't have them pressed because I wanted to make sure that my female snaps fit into place properly. So I've got my lining piece right side up with my male magnetic snaps, and I want to make sure they fit into place, and it looks good. So I'm going to go ahead and take these off, and I'm going to go to the rivet press, and I'm going to go ahead and get these pressed. Okay, and you want to go ahead and grab that other piece of your internal snap cover. We're going to sew these 2 pieces together. So what's going to happen is we are going to place these so that they are wrong sides together. And you're going to clip all around the 4 edges, okay? And then we're going to sew around all 4 edges, okay? Since this is a raw piece, you could edge paint this piece if you'd like, but you'll need to do that before you attach it to the lining pieces because it will need to have time to dry. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and snap these into place. All right, the female ends are now into place. So like I said, you're gonna have these wrong sides together, clip them together, and you're gonna sew around all 4 edges using the seam allowance in the pattern, okay? All right, so I've sewn together the 2 internal snap cover pieces. What I did to keep these 2 pieces together while I was sewing was I used double-sided tape and I placed it on the edge of one of these covers on the wrong side, and then I placed these together, and I did end up having to trim just a little bit. So there we go. That looks pretty good. That purple is so pretty. Okay, so now we have the internal snap cover, and now you want to go ahead and bring out our lining top band, the other one, and then also your other lining piece. Okay, you want to have your lining right side up. I'm going to go ahead and mark my center real quick. My top band here on the bottom. I'll probably go ahead and just do it on both the top and bottom. All right, so I've got the center marked on my lining panel and then on the top band. And now what I'm going to do is fold this lining top band in half. I want to mark my center. I will not be, I'll go ahead and snip into this just because it's going to be sewn into the, top band here. And what we're going to do is we want to center this, okay, so that your snaps are right side up, okay? So your snap should be on top, and we will center this and go ahead and bring this up about 1/2 inch or so. So you want it centered. And then, so what I'm going to do just to make sure I keep it centered, I'm going to grab my marking tool real quick, just an erasing marker. I'm just going to center this, and then I'm going to place a mark right outside the edges of my of this piece, okay, because I want to make sure that it is straight. So I'm going to bring this up about 1/2 inch, as she says, just like so, and I'm going to grab some clips and just kind of put that in the corner right here. Let's go ahead and baste the snap cover onto the lining panel. Now when I sew this, I sewed it with this facing up. You could turn it around and do it that way, but I just kept the edge of this top right at 1/2 inch seam allowance and just moved it over just a smidgen so that I know that I catch this whole lining piece in the back. So now what we're going to do is we're going to place your top band right sides down, and you will have the overlap of this snap cover. So don't worry about that. Just line this up the best that you can. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and sew this down at the seam allowance given in the pattern. All right, so now this is sewn on. So what we're going to do now is we're going to place our snap cover up, okay? Fold that seam allowance down. The seam allowance should be on the back of the lining, not the top band. And what we're going to do now is we're going to top stitch right along this edge on our seam allowance on the lining side. And then we're going to come back over and we're going to stitch again 1/8 of an inch away from the line we just stitched, only covering their snap cover from here to here, okay? Our second row stitching from here to here only. All right, now it's time to go ahead and put our lining together. So you want to have your lining piece, the one with your snap cover, okay? And it's going to be right side up. And then you're going to take your center divider pocket and you're going to lay this right sides down. Well, it's no matter what, it's going to be right side down. You want the zipper to be closing towards the right. Okay, if you want it the other way, that's fine. You can do it however you'd like. What we're going to do is place this down at the bottom. This should match the sides of our squared bottoms perfectly. Okay, so go ahead and we're going to clip the bottom. There we go. So now what we're going to do is grab our other lining piece, the one with your male snaps, and we're going to lay this right side down. So the center divider pocket is sandwiched between the two lining panels, okay? Everything should be aligned at this bottom edge and clip that together. Just make note that the center divider zipper pocket base is shorter than the lining base because we have those angled corners, so don't worry about that. Now what we're going to do is sew this down at the seam allowance given in the pattern. We are going to sew through all of those layers down at the bottom, okay? Okay, so now we have our lining pieces sewn together. And what we want to do is open up our seam allowance. We're going to butterfly this open. We can, I'm going to open this up. And you want to open up that seam. You can stitch over one side of the seam from your pocket, but you want to go ahead and stitch along the seam here, take your pocket, flip it back over, and stitch along the seam on the other side. So make sure you move your pocket out of the way so it doesn't get sewn down. Okay, so I've got this stitch along the bottom, okay. It was a little challenging. It's doable, but you just need to make sure that you, so when I was sewing this, I was making sure to stop every couple stitches and just make sure to keep this open as I was stitching, okay? So now what we're gonna do is we are going to get a ruler and we're going to mark a measurement right here and right here. Not right here and right here, oh my goodness, sorry. It's gonna be, you're gonna make a measurement from each side going upwards, okay? So you'll have a measurement from every box corner, okay, on all 4 of your lining pieces. So grab your ruler and you're gonna take your ruler and you're going to come from this boxed edge and make that measurement that is listed in the pattern, okay? So again, I'm coming over here and I'm making that measurement on all 4 of those corners, okay? Okay, so at the marks we've just made, you're going to take your center divider pocket right here at the edge where your corner starts. You're going to line up this right there and line it up with the marks you just made. We're going to clip along those edges. You're going to go ahead and clip the other side now and make sure that those marks that you made all line up with each other with that angle. Okay, so everything should still line up down at the bottom, okay? Make sure everything is still lining up. Clip along those edges. So your seam should also match up and it looks pretty good. It's kind of thick, but it looks pretty good. All right, and then these are matching down below. So this is kind of what it's going to look like. There's going to be like this weirdness down here. Don't worry about that right now. Okay, now you're going to do the same thing on the other side. So pull that lining down where that measurement is to meet that corner. And go ahead and clip. And then we're going to do the same thing and bring the other lining together. So where that mark that we made to meet the corner. All right, and clip this into place. All right, and everything should be lining up, okay? Down at the bottom as well. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and clip that bottom into place as well. Okay, and I'm gonna go ahead and clip up the top edges as well. All right, so here we go. This is what we've got right now, okay? All right, make sure everything is lining up correctly and everything's looking good. All right, so beginning at the top band edge, we're gonna sew this together using the seam allowance given in the pattern, and then we're gonna start at 1 seam allowance and then increase our seam allowance, okay? So pay attention to that. So go ahead and start sewing this down, okay? Don't be afraid to smush all this out of the way as you're sewing, okay? All right, so this is what we've got, okay? Looks a little poofy, right? This is what you want. Okay, so now she recommends to go to the iron and open up the seam, or if you'd like, you can get some double-sided tape and open this up so that it stays open. Go ahead and match up your seams. And since I'm using a water-resistant canvas, this folds really nicely. It's already straight. It came together so nice. Look at that. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and grab a couple of clips. Do you like to put some clips down on the side just to keep it open? All right, that looks pretty good, okay? Now go ahead and do the same exact way. And then we're gonna go ahead and sew this together. Make sure you sew this with this seam open on both sides, okay? And then we're gonna do this at the seam allowance given in the pattern, and then we're gonna trim this down, okay? All right, our lining is done for now. The pattern says to take a break. It looks really cute. I don't know if you can see that, but it's adorable. I love these colors together. I'm gonna continue on with my outer panel. So what I need to do before I move on is to go ahead and cut out my corners on all of my pieces. So what's gonna happen is I'm gonna have 2 corners on the right side of 2 pieces and 2 corners on the left side of my pieces. So you wanna make sure that you're really careful with that. Okay, so for mine, I need to make my exterior panel, okay? So I've got 2 of my left side with my corners cut out. And then I have 2 now for the right side. And then I have my 2 center pieces. So what I'm gonna do to create a panel is I'm gonna grab 1 of each. And I wanna make sure, you have a center, a left, and a right, okay? So we've got a left, a center, and a right. And I'm gonna set this to the side. And then right now, I'm gonna go ahead and I have my center right side up. I'm gonna take my left side and place it right side up on that left edge. And I'm gonna go ahead and clip this in place. And then we will sew this down at the seam allowance given in the pattern. All right, so now that is sewn together, I'm gonna open this up and I'm gonna fold it down. I'm gonna have the seam go behind the center panel. And I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna top stitch along the seam on the center panel. So right inside, right here at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance, okay? All right, so we have the left side done. So now you're gonna go ahead and grab your right side. So have the center panel right side up and place the right side down over that right side and clip those edges together, and we will sew that at the seam allowance given in the pattern. All right, so go ahead and open that up and have that seam go into that center panel just like we did on the other side, and we're going to go ahead and top stitch this on that lining side at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. All right, so we have one panel all done. That looks pretty good. I'm going to do the exact same thing on the other panel. Okay, so repeat that, and I'm also going to go ahead and place my my tag on here as well. And I'm going to go kind of high just because this is going to, you know, have a folded bottom. So I'll put it up here towards the center probably. All right, so go ahead and repeat that for the other side. Okay, so I have my panels all ready to go. All right, so now what we're going to do is place these right sides down, right sides together. We're going to clip the bottom edges only. Clip the bottom edges, and then we will sew the bottom at the seam allowance that is given in the pattern. Okay, so I put my base stabilizer on the outer base. If you are going to be putting the base stabilizer on the bottom of this panel, then you'll want to follow along in the instructions. But what I'm going to do is open this up. I'm going to flip this over so that it's right sides up, and I'm going to butterfly these seams, and I'm going to stitch over them. So as I'm sewing, I'm going to open them, and then we will do our outer base. So if you're, like I said, if you're doing the base stabilizer on your panels, you'll want to go ahead and follow along with the instructions. But I'm going to go ahead and butterfly my seams here and sew down on each side of the seam. Okay, so I've got this sewn together. Now you're going to go ahead and grab your outer base, and I went ahead and snipped little center marks into the shortest sides here because you want to match that up with your seams. So you'll go ahead and lay this so that it's wrong sides down and match that center mark with that center seam and clip into place. You can use double-sided tape for this if you would like. All right, match up those center and the seam on both sides. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to top stitch along the edges of our base right here on both long edges. Okay, don't worry about the short edges, just the top, the long edges along the raw side of your outer base, okay? All right, so we've got the outer base sewn on here. Now what we're gonna do is, you could also, I meant to say, you could like do some design on the bottom if you want to. You can add purse feet. You could do anything you want here to make it your own, you know, unique or whatever. I'm gonna leave mine alone. Now what we're gonna do is we're going to place our exteriors right side together, and what you want to do is clip along each edge on the sides, and then we're going to sew that down at the seam allowance given in the pattern. Okay, and then we are going to box our corners just like we did with our lining. All right, so we have our exterior sewn together now, and what we're going to do is we're going to box our corners just like we did with our lining. The only difference is, well, I guess there's not a difference. I was going to say we've got the divider pocket, but we have a base. So make sure you include the base in your seam allowance. It should be just fine. All right, and I've got my seams open and they are matched in the center right at that seam. And this is nice and straight, which is great. I'm clipping that together. And then just like I did with my lining, I'm going to place, sorry, I need to turn these around. I'm very picky with how that is. There we go. Okay. Now I'm going to grab a clip and place it on each side just to keep this open to help with that boxed corner. So we'll do the same thing on this side. All right, so that's nice and straight. And now we're going to go ahead and stitch according to the seam allowance in the pattern. I will be doing 2 rows of stitching, so I'll have one at the seam allowance and then I'll bring it in on the inside, of the seam allowance, okay? That way it relieves pressure on those stitches for the first row of stitches. Okay, so we have our corners boxed. Looks pretty good. All right, so now what you want to do is grab that lining. And we are going to keep our exterior wrong side out, okay? And now we are going to turn our lining so that it is right side out. Go ahead and open your zipper. So this is gonna be kind of weird because you have that center pocket. Now we're going to place our lining inside of the outer bag. Okay. Make sure your zipper is open. All right, we're almost done. So we're going to match up our seams. Open them up if you can. If not, just nest them. That's what I'm going to have to do with mine. My seams on the vinyl will not really open. So do the best you can. I'm wondering, I think we need to tuck this in. It makes sense to tuck that in. All right, so go ahead and clip around that top edge. Okay, everything is clipped into place. It is going to feel a little weird. Okay, so don't worry about that. Go ahead and stitch around the whole exterior, the top perimeter at the seam allowance given in the pattern. All right, guys. We're almost there. Okay, the top perimeter has now been sewn together. So now I'm going to pull out my lining. You're going to reach in through this pocket, okay? And we are going to grab, and we're going to start pulling everything through this pocket, okay? I'm going to go ahead and start pulling my exterior through first since it's the farthest away. I'm going to roll the seams here at the top. I'm going to start clipping up here. We're going to top stitch this. After I top stitch everything, I will close that pocket that we just pulled everything through. But this is looking good. You may need a hump jumper for these seams. I can tell my seams right here are super thick. All right, let's top stitch around the perimeter at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay, so it has been top stitched. Okay, this has got to be the cutest little bag. I wanted to test this and make sure it fits, and it does. Look at how cute. Oh my goodness gracious. And this is what it looks like on the inside. So it works out great. It looks good. Everything fits nicely. So now what I'm going to do is go ahead and close up that pocket. I love this. All right, so go ahead and pull out your pocket. And we are going to close this up, and then we'll work on our grommets. I'm a little scared about the grommets because we're putting a hole into our fabric, so it's gonna be okay though. It's gonna be okay. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and just fold this in and pull it kind of tight and start clipping around the edges, and then sew this down together at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance to close up this pocket. Okay, so our pocket is sewn together, nice and closed up. So go ahead and push that into your pocket. All right, push those corners out. That's good. That looks really good. I love that. All right, I've got to go get my grommets. I have them in another area. I haven't brought them in here yet, but we are going to attach grommets right here on both of these sides. Okay, so we went ahead and installed the grommets. I didn't want to do that on camera because it involved using a mallet and beating them. So I went ahead and had the grommets installed right where the pattern tells us to. Looks pretty good. All that's left to do now is just attach the chain strap. So you're gonna need to get these little guys now. So go ahead and insert these on both sides. Oh, that looks so good. Okay, now go ahead and attach my strap in here. All right, and that's it. We're all done with the Ellie Modern bucket bag. You could make your own strap if you'd like, whatever you'd like to do. Okay, I love it. That's amazing. Thank you so much to Kathy with K.Dill Handmade for allowing me to use your pattern on my channel. The link for her pattern is down below, and make sure you check out her other patterns. They're all amazing. I love every one I've ever made. All right, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope that you guys have a good one, and I hope that you'll like my video, please. And if you could subscribe to my channel, I would greatly appreciate it, and I would love to have you. All right, guys, I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Have a good one.